No way.
UFC vets figuring out life, training, and womanhood.
This is her daily hustle.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Sam.
And I'm Macy. You know, I think we wanted to start this podcast as a way to show our hustle through life, not only inside the cage, but outside the cage, training.
Me and Macy kind of struggle with posting the ins and outs on our social media. So this is really the real way for us to kind of show the real us and a little bit more about that.
And we've learned a lot from fighting, you know, not just the training aspect, but the mentality, that mental fortitude, right? Mental health.
What it's like being a woman inside the MMA industry.
That, and then also just a woman in general. And like how that coincides with fighting. Because I feel like our life is very parallel to what we do with fighting. You know? So training, identity, womanhood, and just kind of like showing the world like you're capable of doing anything. Like you can do anything you set your mind to. You know, the fight behind the fight, the spaces in between, you know, what we're doing outside the cage, it's all a part of what we do in life, right? And that can translate over to just life in general, right? You don't have to be a fighter to...
Totally. Just women athletes in general, and kind of our story, our background of how we kind of got going with MMA, what led to that, and then how we kind of found each other and became friends through this craziness.
Do you remember like the first time we met?
Yeah, I do.
I just remember that night that you came into the gym, like your first time, like you walk in the door and you had your little backpack on, you're like walking in, and I'm squatting down by my gear bag, like getting ready, you know, like how I sit on my knees and I'm opening my bag and I'm getting my stuff methodically, you know, before training. It takes me forever to get ready. I like ADHD out sometimes and I start talking. Locker room talk. And you came in and you squatted down next to me and you're like, hey.
Did I really?
You're like,
wow.
Hey, I'm Sam.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like all sporty vibe and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. Hey, Sam.
I didn't even remember I did that. Because in my mind, I remember being like super nervous and not having a lot of girls to train with at my old gym. And so whenever I came to Fortis, I was like, man, I don't want to like give off the wrong vibe, or I want to make friends, but like, you know, everybody building each other up. And I didn't really know how to train with women, actually. I only train with guys.
That's so crazy. I didn't even think about that. Because like you just fit in so well at the gym.
That's good.
Yeah, because you have that vibe about you that I've been doing sports most of my life. You know, I know how to work with a team, you know, outside of fighting. And so when you walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Sporty Spice. We're going to be best friends. You know? And then there was a small moment where I thought you were a lesbian.
Really? That's really funny.
You know that.
We'll actually have to get in. I do know that.
But not because, like, I look at you and I'm like, oh, you're a lesbian. But, like, I don't know. There's just, like,
so much of a sporty vibe.
Just, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. I was like, oh, my God, it's one of my people.
And but very much a tomboy
once I got to know you, like, I was like, you are one of my people, but you are definitely not a lesbian.
Yep. And man,
but you're an ally.
Now I'll have to
you're
tell.
You're part of the LGBTQ plus ally.
Yeah, definitely.
Situation.
But we'll have to like get into all the crazy stories of like everybody else thinks I'm a lesbian too, which I don't care. I don't.
Okay,
you know,
yeah, you do.
You know,
yeah,
because we have plenty of stories to tell.
The DMs,
the DMs, the Snapchats. Why I had to get rid of Snapchat.
I'm like honestly kind of like, my wife is here. I love you, but I'm honestly like kind of like offended the fact that you get so many like DMs from women, and
but
I have not. But I get all the dick pics.
Exactly,
I get all the
and
pics,
I get zero
the
dick
stuff
pics.
that I don't want to see.
Yeah. So we'll just
like,
have to trade
not that
phones.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Not that I want to see that, but you know, I just like would make me feel better about like validated about like being lesbian. But,
there we go.
But
we'll have to just trade phones.
Yeah, we got to keep that anonymous because that is quite the rap sheet of people that have sent you stuff.
Yeah. Surprisingly, a lot of UFC fighters.
It's insane.
I don't want to spoil it, but you know, what is that? The little cliffhangers off of like series and stuff like that. So like they got to keep watching.
Yeah.
Because got a lot of names.
That is absolutely insane.
I know.
I cannot it really still like blows my mind.
Yeah.
That people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women are funny.
I'm like, do the women not like me? Like, what is it?
I think the women are scared
of me.
And maybe a little bit scared of Hannah.
But scared of Hannah for sure.
Yeah.
I would be terrified too. I would be terrified too. But no.
But back to the first day that I like met you, you are like so warm and like just give off this like very nurturing vibe that like I was nervous and I was like, oh shit, what do I say? I need to introduce myself so I don't come off as like a bitch. But you were just like, hey, welcome to the gym. Glad you're here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. We're going to be best friends. Did we just become best friends?
Did we just like have a moment?
Yep.
I think it's because like I really want more women to get into MMA or train, you know, and the gym can be such like sometimes it can be a weird or toxic vibe depending on what kind of people are there.
Yep.
And I just feel like that scares off a lot of the women that come through.
Yeah.
And also our training over at Fortis is like really intense, right? Yeah. It's not for the weak-minded or, I mean, you have to really like let some of the stuff that you see or you're doing like training wise or you're hearing from coaching, like just kind of like go in one ear and out of the other. Yep. And I just find that a lot of people just can't quite, even men. I mean, there's a lot of men that come in and out of Fortis that just can't
handle it.
It's too much, right? It's too much. And so I get really excited when women are at the gym and I'm like, oh, please, like, I hope you can stay. Like, I'm like looking at all the guys, like when a new girl comes in and I'm like, don't DM her.
Be weird.
Don't talk to her.
Yeah.
Like treat her like one of us, you know?
Yep.
And your vibe shuts all that down.
Yeah.
Like anytime one of the guys, and I get it. Like you're at a gym, you're training with someone, like you're really inspired by these people. Like, we're all attractive women, like, and I understand that. You know, I married my wife that I somewhat met at the gym, right? But we don't train together. We don't do any of that stuff. But, you know, I understand, like, when you're at a place where you're just there every single day. Yeah. And it runs women away.
It does. It
really does. So I get really excited and hyped when someone is finally, like, stuck. Like, they stick with us, you know, and they don't let any of that other stuff influence them. I've always been more prone to kind of like relate with men in a way.
Same.
Just because I went to all girls Catholic school.
Yeah.
You know, and like that whole clique vibe, that whole thing, I hated it.
Yeah.
I like forced myself to be friends with the nerds. Yeah. Because they had no drama.
Yep.
I was like, I can't do the drama. You know, so that's why I tend to like gravitate towards men. But like now that I'm in MMA, I'm like, men are so emotional in the sport. They are so emotional.
More emotional than women, for sure.
100%.
For sure. But like, that was kind of the same with me too, because in high school, I went to public school, but I was like with the nerds in the cross country group. And like, everybody was like, oh, they're so nerdy. They're like running around.
Give me the nerds. Give me the nerds.
Give me the nerds.
They're not trying to like mess you over, talk about you behind your back.
They tell
you maybe have a little bit of like someone on the spectrum too, because they will tell you. Sure. They will tell you.
Yeah.
What they think of you, and I love that. Yep. And also, they got your back.
Yeah.
They got your back.
100%.
But when I started jiu-jitsu, I mean, I'm like, okay, so like now you're gonna do S-mount on me. You're gonna go for a top-sided like seated Kimura right on my face. Yep. So it's like we're like basically your ball sack is on my face. You know, so you can't help but to think like this is so weird.
Yeah. Or north-south or anything else. Yeah.
Right.
Or
and
even
like
getting in a triangle.
Beginner to advanced, I can't tell you like how much of my life I've actually touched someone's junk.
Yeah.
More than I ever thought I would in my life.
Totally on accident. And
totally
then you're
on
like,
accident.
oh, do I say something about it? Do I not?
Like, I'm probably no longer considered a gold star.
Who's been your favorite female sparring partner?
I'm trying to think.
It's a hard question.
That's a hard question because I just haven't had very many.
Yeah.
And it just, we don't have like, we have a wide variety of weight classes at our gym for women. Like there's either 15ers, 25ers. I don't know. I mean, probably on the Ultimate Fighter, I would say. I mean, Panny was a really fun sparring partner.
Okay, cool.
Bea, probably Bea.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Bea was really fun because she was very high level Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And she's really long. So, like, I had to play with that range game of, okay, I'm a long fighter, but now I have to work mid-range, right? Or I know she's going to kick me in the liver. Like, she kicks so hard. So, like, I would try to time her kicks and take her down. And we were very competitive, but we were also, like, friends. Like, I felt like we could go into the gym, try to kill each other, and then walk out, kind of be annoyed. Like, we would leave the gym and then come back and be like, okay, we're good.
But that's good. I feel like that's the most healthy way to be. And it annoys me whenever, I'm sure you've had them before, but I've like rolled with girls before. And this was like way back in the day, not at Fortis, where like I went to go, the rotation in rolls and stuff. And you go to be like, hey, you want to be my next partner? And she's like, I don't like rolling with you. And it's like, you don't like rolling with me because
you whoop her ass.
I whoop her ass. And so it's just like, and it's like, it doesn't have to be like that. We can both keep getting better, and grow. But I think
that happens with guys too.
Yeah.
I definitely tell some dudes like, hey, I'm not rolling with you.
But not that's just because of a different reason. Yeah, that's because they get like ego and try to like tear your ankle off.
Well, that's ego too for women though.
Yeah.
That can be an ego too for women because there's just not a lot of us.
Yeah.
So when a woman first feels that part of like, okay, I just got my ass beat by another woman, it is a little like offensive.
Yeah.
You get defensive because there's not many times, like I almost expect to get my ass beat by a guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like you have that competitive sense with women, and I feel like we're in a world where women are just so competitive with each other, not for the right reasons.
Right.
And we need to actually start working together.
Yeah. Lifting each other up.
Right.
So in the beginning, it was like all about proving to yourself. Did you have any aspirations of like, oh, I think, I could be pro? Or,
not yet.
Yeah,
not yet.
I didn't either.
Not yet. That thought, and I like that because that thought it was never about that for me.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, come into the gym and they're like, oh, I just want to be a UFC fighter. And that's the only goal that they like fixate on. And it's like, it starts way smaller than that. Way smaller. So what are your real reasons and what's your why of why you're doing this?
Well, first of all, like to follow that, if your reason to walking into anything is because like obviously you can have like dreams and aspirations for something, but if your thought process walking into the gym is just that, I have seen people walk into the gym and say that, and
not
I've had 40-year-old men walk into the gym and say they were going to be in the UFC with no training.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's hilarious.
And I'm like, okay, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get there. First of all, you're old as hell.
Yeah.
That's just,
were they like successful people or
unrealistic?
Were they
it's a lot of wishy-washy type people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with someone being older walking into the gym that says, I want to learn.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to do Muay Thai. I want to learn jiu-jitsu. I want to learn MMA.
Yep.
That is, you can have these goals in your head of, I would like to be a UFC fighter one day. That is like my dream.
Right.
But I am here to learn.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing. So I never had the thought of being any sort of fighter.
Yeah.
I had the thought of, I am trying to fight to be better.
Yeah.
For my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to, I kind of felt like I was in a place where I used to play sports, but I hadn't played sports in a while. I just my self-esteem and confidence was down. Relationships that were just starting for me just weren't quite working out. And I was like, okay, I had to do a lot of inner self-reflection and work on, just think about, okay, you need to do something that is passionate for you, that is is going to help you with growth and hard work. But you can also be authentic.
Yep.
And let's not lie to yourself. Let's go somewhere in a gym. That was okay, a gym. I want to go and work out, but what kind of workout?
Right.
So I got into martial arts, and I was just obsessed with getting better.
Yeah.
So I went there and then I wouldn't leave. I would be there for 3 or 4 hours.
Yep.
And it was just this instant thing, instant gratification, and also just this no-brainer of, I'm going to go back again.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back again.
Yep.
I'm going to go back again. And after a few years, probably 2 years of training, 2 or 3, I saw a UFC fight, right? And actually, I think it was, I don't know who she was fighting, but I saw it was Tisha Torres and someone else. It was one of those big cards that she was on. And I just remember specifically because it was the first women's fight of the card. And I just watched it and I said, that is so badass. That is so much fun. It's so cool.
Yep.
And I got that inspiration because of what I was already doing. I was learning martial arts.
Yeah.
I was in the gym already. And so I kind of had that fire and that feeling. And then watching it as a sport, I was like, I have to just try it. Yeah. Like, I have to just try it. Yep. Like, what if I just tried it?
Yep.
And I just never had a thought, like, it never crossed my mind that this is what I'd be doing today.
I know.
It never crossed my mind that I would do the Ultimate Fighter. I just never had, I had confidence in myself, but I wasn't so overconfident or egotistical. I was very humbled in a way from doing it.
Yeah.
Which I think is just really important. Like, you should always aspire to be something greater.
Yeah.
But we also have to be realistic, and, that's not the end goal is not what it's about.
Right.
It's the journey.
Yeah.
And the journey for me is what has been so amazing. And when I started martial arts, I was like, I can do this every single day.
Yep.
No matter what I'm going to do for a living or whatever. It just was a part of my life that I just really held close. And I know I'll have it, forever, no matter what I'm doing. If I'm still in the UFC, or even if I didn't own a gym, or if I didn't, wasn't competing, it's a really huge part of my life because it has helped me grow in so many ways.
Yeah. No, I 1,000% agree with you on that. And it's just so crazy that, like, we were in two different places, but it sounds like a very, very similar story. Mm-hmm. Because I remember when I lived in Seattle at the time, I met this guy, and all I was doing was going to, like, an LA Fitness and running and lifting weights, because I had just graduated college. I got my first big girl job, and I was, like, working in the city and stuff like that. And
yeah, but you were also a D1 athlete.
I was, and I was struggling with identity at that time, because I was just like, what do I do now? Like, running, like, yeah, I can do, like, 5Ks here and there and sign up for, like, turkey trots or whatever, but, like, it's like I need to be competitive, and I was missing that part, and I was, like, kind of struggling to be like, okay, we'll just accept kind of who you are now.
And what did you run in college?
The 5,000 steeplechase.
What is steeplechase?
Steeplechase is, like, the most fun. It's a 2-mile race, and you go over, like, 8 barriers. There's a water pit, and it's slanted. So, like, obviously you only want like 1 foot wet the whole race, because some guys, like, miss the pit and scorpion and everything else, and you're, like, completely drenched. Anyway, it's, like, one of the toughest races there is.
Okay, because I don't, but I know so a little bit about track. I don't know, like, in depth, like this. So I need you to just help me out here.
Okay. So, yeah, you start on the track, go around, and there's, like, hurdles, and they don't move. So, like, normal hurdles that if you're a hurdler, you can, if you clip them, they'll fall forward. But, like, these barriers, they don't move. Like, so if you hit them, you hit them and kind of eat shit a little bit. And it sucks. But then once you go around the second curve, there's, like, a huge water pit. So you have to jump on the barrier and push off to clear the water pit.
I'm sorry, this is, like, an actual track?
This is an actual track event.
How have I not seen this?
I got to send you more videos of it.
Have you seen that? Do you know what that is?
Never seen it.
You have to send me videos. Okay. This was, like, a legit thing that you were good, like, really good at?
Really, really good at. Yeah, I was.
Dude, you're so badass. I need to see this, though. You need to take me to the track so I can just try. I like, obviously I can't run like that. Like, I can't really run, but.
No, you can run. I've seen you do track.
I run okay. Like, yeah, but I'm dead. Giving everything I have. But to put me through one of those, I just need to see it. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's intense, and it's basically 7.5 laps. So it's just shy of 2 miles. I say it's a 2-mile race just for technicality points, but it's basically 2 miles. And super intense.
And this is on the track?
This is on the track.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I was a year-round athlete.
It sounds like Hunger Games for track.
It kind of was. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. And so I was a year-round athlete, and I did cross-country in the fall and then track in the spring, and steeplechase was kind of like my jam. I liked the 5K, but it was just boring. I liked a little bit more brain activity and looking forward to something. So steeplechase was that. But yeah, after college, whenever I moved from South Carolina to Seattle, I was, like, so lost. I was like, because for the past 9 years, almost 10 years, I had just been doing track, cross country, year round, every single year. Yep. And that was, like, my whole life. And so I maybe could have gone pro. I don't know, you know.
What's professional look like?
I mean, you got to get sponsored by, like, Nike or New Balance or.
Are those people that go to the Olympics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So.
And what do you, like, how would you consider yourself, like, would that have been something that you think you could have done?
Maybe if I devoted the time to it, like I did for MMA. Right. Yeah, I probably could have.
But you just felt like you kind of phased out of that and needed a switch.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit I was burnt out. A little bit I was,
I can imagine.
You know, I didn't really know what to do and how much time and effort I really wanted to put into it. And there was so much pressure on just like getting a job and, you know, doing your normal life that any adult should be doing. But whenever I moved out to Seattle and was just working all the time and stuff, met these guys and we would go watch Michigan State football. I hate Michigan State, but I like those guys, and so it was so much fun just to like go on Saturdays and watch football with them and stuff. And one of the guys was like, I should actually say his name, Terry.
Terry.
Shout out Terry.
Come on, Terry.
Back it up, Terry.
Come on, back it
up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. He actually suggested that I go to his MMA gym, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot, because I was just doing the LA Fitness thing and running and lifting weights, and I was kind of bored with that a little bit.
Because you're used to really intense competition.
Yeah.
I mean, what you told me about D1 level, like, track work and stuff is insane.
It is insane.
Honestly is so impressive.
Oh, thanks.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, the mental fortitude with that, and that's really why I truly believe, like, you are the way you are, and you're so strong-willed, and obviously your cardio is, like, amazing. Like, we know you're never going to gas out. Those muscle fibers are fibering.
Hey,
they're fibering.
They're fibering.
Yeah, but it's really cool to see how that translates over to MMA for you.
I think that is like
so interested in what like your first time like in the gym was like.
Yeah, that is like my little ace in the hole where I can always pull that out whenever I need it, you know, which is pretty cool. I feel pretty fortunate about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up going with him and tried out this kickboxing class. And then like I remember taking my gloves or my hands out of my gloves and like my hands were like shaking. I was like so fatigued. But
was it adrenaline?
It was like...
Was it adrenaline and fatigue?
I think it was probably adrenaline and fatigue. But like we were just punching like the bag and like each other's gloves.
Yeah, but it was your first time though.
But it was my first time.
It's
And it was like such a different workout than like what I'd been used to doing. You know, it's like a long distance person goes and sprints for the first time. They're like, what the hell is this? This is so tough. This is, you know, totally different energy system. And so, but I remember loving it. I'm like, how do I do this all the time? This is awesome. This is so different than what I'm used to doing. And that's all I focused on too, to get back to your point, is I was like, how can I just get better at this? All I want to do is get better, and I want to be a really good striker, and I want to like keep learning. And so that was my whole goal. Like in the beginning, I was like, and I didn't even think about having a fight. And, you know, the gym that I was at, the guys were constantly having fights like every other month or whatever it was. And never once was I like, oh, I can't wait to have my first fight. I was like, I just want to keep getting better. I just want to keep growing. And like, I want to see what all this is about. And then,
do you think that's a personality thing, or is that just from your experience as an athlete, very high level athlete?
That's a really good question. I don't know. That might be like a personality trait, but it might be both, like a little bit of both, you know?
Like I think it's an edge because you had the prior training and the type of training that you did.
Yeah.
Obviously translates over to MMA fairly well in that sort of avenue of like that cardio endurance, right? And mental fortitude too, because the mentality of like runners is crazy. Yeah. It's kind of like tennis in a way.
A little, a lot of it actually. But just that understanding of like what it takes to be like okay at something and then like good and then, you know.
But your personality is also what probably got you at to a high level in running and MMA. Definitely
that, because that's all I was thinking about. Is I was just like, how do I get better? You know, all I want to do is just train all the time.
And you're relentless.
Yeah.
Like I think you have to have like both personality for it and the training.
Definitely.
And like I never did sports at a high level like you. I mean, I did some sports. I played a lot of different sports. Yeah. And like, you know, in grade school and high school. But once I got out of high school, that's when I started martial arts.
Yeah.
So, like, I never really had that prior.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. So I think that's, for me, like, I wouldn't say it was just an athletic ability. Yes, I'm coachable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can be super coachable and I want to get better. So my personality is I am relentless. I want to grow. I want to work really hard. I want to be able to be authentic when I do it. I also want to be passionate, and I'm super passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I need to be creative.
Yeah.
So I think all of those personal things and values in my life help push me into where I am now. With a small athletic ability.
But I think if you would have had the right coach, like in high school, and like really truly fell in love with one individual sport, whether it be like tennis or swimming or whatever, you could have made it really, really far because
I could have, and I had the right coaches.
Yeah.
But I wasn't disciplined.
Okay.
Once I got to high school, I started making a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And my friends, like, the friend group that I had weren't into sports.
Okay.
So that's where I messed up.
Yeah.
That was my own personal vendetta. That was the reason behind I got into martial arts.
Okay.
Because I wanted to push myself. I wanted to show up every day. I wanted to stay consistent and disciplined.
Yep.
And I didn't have that in high school.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't have it in high school, but I made the basketball team super easily.
Yeah.
And Cabrini was where I went partially for high school, and they had an excellent basketball program.
Okay.
And I just remember the captain would always call me, and I would miss practice. I'd go drive off with my friends. I'd go do something.
Yeah.
You know, we would go do something, like go to the mall or something like that, or, probably doing something bad.
Yeah, probably.
And I just and that was a huge part of why I was not consistent or disciplined. I think the people who surround you are really important.
Yeah.
Right? Your friend group for sure. Like if you want to do athletics, you need to be surrounded by those people.
Yep.
But not only as a driver to be at practice, but for burnout too. Because you need people you can relate to.
Yep.
You need people who know you're competent.
Yep.
Competency is a huge part of that. And so I think when you surround yourself by those type of people, that makes you showing up every day a lot easier.
Yeah.
And that's also another reason why I showed up every day in martial arts is because I had a good support group there.
Yep.
Some of the people were not good people.
Right.
But at least as a whole of what we were trying to accomplish from a coaching standpoint, I that was super helpful for me to stay in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's everything. I mean, and that's now we can fast forward to present day, and it's having a good spouse or having a good partner, to bounce the bad days and the good days and keep you kind of level. And that's everything. And I attribute that a lot to you because how many times have I gone in the locker room and been like, Macy, I just need to vent to you for 15, 20 minutes, and then it turns into an hour. And then you're like, hold on, I need to call Hannah before she's pissed at me. I'm like, okay.
We're getting out of practice at 9 or not 9:30.
9:30. And then it's 10:30.
And then it's we're in the locker room and we need to go and we're trying to rush, but we just need that little moment of connectedness, to talk about something and relate.
Yep.
And that is so important. Yep. That's important for mental health. That's important for your community within there.
Yep.
Okay.
What was the most chaotic fight camp you've ever had? Because I've had some crazy ones too.
You think chaotic? In a sense, what do you because they're all pretty chaotic in their own different way.
What is that famous thing, everything can go wrong, it does go wrong?
Yeah,
that kind of deal.
I would say, I've had a lot of those because you just it's life, right?
Yeah.
You just don't know,
and you never fight 100%.
You're not really fighting 100%, and there's injuries, obviously, there's the mental part of it. There's daily life. I think the biggest thing for me that's so chaotic is that parallel part to fighting is your life, right? Fighting is kind of an identity, or it has to be an identity in a way because we live it, breathe it.
Yep.
But it is not our entire identity. So I say we have fighting and then we have life.
Yeah.
Right? And they kind of just run parallel to each other.
Yeah.
Some people will intersect it, and I have intersected it. Mm-hmm. And that's been a huge part for me is letting it cross over, which it does. So what I try to say is let's not let it intersect. Let's let it run parallel.
Yeah.
Because what I do in life will reflect what I do in fighting. And sometimes what I do in fighting is going to reflect life.
100%.
Yeah. And I just want to try to stay away from letting those just intersect to where it messes with my identity.
Yeah.
The hardest camp that I had been through, like emotionally and physically, was definitely this last one.
Okay.
This last camp right before I fought Ketlin Vieira.
Yep.
And, you know, my wife and I were starting IVF last year, right after my Bueno Silva fight.
Yep.
And the IVF process in itself was like, I just kind of assumed that IVF and pregnancy was going to be so easy. And my wife and I assumed that too, just because like we're just both very high functioning, high level people.
Yeah.
You know, and my wife is a extremely talented, extremely high level musician. She plays the flute.
Yep.
I mean, you know that, but you know, and she's college professor. Higher education is like really important to her as well. She is an amazing performer. You know,
I've seen her perform
on stage.
It's awesome.
She's insane, and we're very similar in a way, but different. Yep. But you know, so we just kind of assumed that IVF was going to be like a breeze,
right?
Like we knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah,
like we knew it was going to be really hard.
But nothing you couldn't handle. You've already been through before,
right?
You know, it's just going to be another thing,
right? Like she had been through like her doctorate, you know, and her master's, and like not sleeping, training full time, like playing the flute for like what, 4 to 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day.
Yeah, that's
8 hours a day.
That's crazy.
On zero sleep, and she's such a high functioning person.
Yeah,
you know, so I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like, you know, she's carrying, like she's doing the IVF. I'm super empathetic to that, of course. And so we just thought it wasn't going to be hard.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be hard. We just didn't think it was going to be hard.
Yeah.
Through that process, I dipped into depression and anxiety. Also anxiety because I'm not the one who's physically going through it, but I was having physical symptoms.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because IVF was like phenomenal. Like we really didn't have a hard time with anything. And that also put guilt on me because there's so many people out there that have gone through so many rounds of IVF.
Yeah.
You know, and no one talks about that. No one talks about just, you know, mentally how hard it's on you and your partner, and physically how hard it is on you. And obviously your partner in a way too.
Yeah.
The amount of injections that you're going through, like just not knowing if you're going to get pregnant, not knowing if you're going to have to go through it again.
Yep.
You know, and just there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of pain too. And no one talks about that. And we just had no idea.
Yeah.
You know, and social media doesn't help because it's either all like really positive stuff or all really negative. So you just don't really know. You don't really know which way to go because everyone's experience is different. You know, and so there was a lot of guilt that it happened, and then there was also like those inner dialogues of like, okay, like, are we ready for this? Like, you know, now I have a fight coming up.
Yeah.
You know, and how am I gonna support her? And I remember my best friend Jamie like literally asked me this after the Aldana fight because we were talking about IVF. She's like, how are you going to emotionally support her?
Did you have an answer, or were you like,
I just was straight up like, oh, I can. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But she said that and I didn't really, you just don't know. You just don't know until you're going through it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's, and you can't sit there and say, oh, well, this would have been a better time or this would have been
there's no perfect time.
There's no perfect timing.
Yeah.
Just how we agreed on having a kid. Like, there's no perfect timing to do it. If you want to do it, just do it.
Yep.
Right? You can't overthink everything. And so before that, I was really into the mental part, like the Way of the Warrior, studying Taekwondo Soho, the unfettered mind, and really doing well with that mindset and meditation and living the life. But I was having a hard time finding how to plug that into life itself.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yep.
I could plug it into fighting easily, but I was like, how do I now end my life, but how do I now take that and plug it into life going through IVF and pregnancy and getting prepared for like another family member?
Did you find it difficult to like communicate your fears or your like your hesitations with Hannah? Like say like anything that you were overthinking like during that time because maybe you were nervous about putting that extra stuff on her, or did you find it easy just to be able to communicate with her and tell her, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. I'm kind of nervous. I'm missing practice. I want to be there for you. But, you know, how did you kind of deal with that?
It was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. And I'm not going to sit there and say that we were like, we have really good communication, but with IVF, there's a lot of hormones involved. Yeah. And I was also not in a great place, like hormonally as a woman as well.
Right.
And a lot of that is thrown off with like low energy availability, the cutting process. Like I'm on low calories, I'm overtrained, I'm trying to recover better. I'm in camp. And so it got a little chaotic. I really had to work hard on being a better person and growing.
Yeah.
And that is also a reason why her and I have decided to become parents. Because it is a growth factor. Like we are going to be better human beings. I mean, we're probably going to have, she's going to hate us like most of the time, but and we're just trying to figure out parenthood ourselves. But I think
the first like 4 years, they're like so infatuated with you guys.
Yeah. Like, and then like when
everything is great.
Preteen. They're
then it goes to shit.
Hey, can you pick me up down the street? I don't want to be seen with you. But that was something I was really looking forward to, was growth and growing and becoming a better human, and with that, you have to sometimes hit rock bottom or hit those low moments because that is where you're really truly learning.
Yep.
Loss, you will learn so much more from failure.
Yeah.
Than you will sometimes from winning. You learn a lot from winning.
You do.
You're like, okay, this is successful. I should continue to do this.
Yep.
But the loss is really gonna show you your true colors.
Yep.
And it was such a hard but like transformative process for us. We had to sit down and have a come to moment where we had to grieve like the life that we used to have. Mm. And there's a lot of guilt with feeling like that. Like, okay, like it's not just us anymore.
Yeah.
So I had a moment with her where I was like, we have to go on a baby moon. Like we have to go to Italy. We have to go to Italy right after my fight. We're never going to be able to travel again.
Macy, I love this about you too, because this like 100% shows your personality, where like you're so big and animated sometimes that like, that is you. Like, you're just like, okay, this is it. And then we just got to lock in. And like, because that's what you do. You always are like, let me take this trip and then I'm just going to lock in. Yeah. And then like, I'm going to shut everybody else out or, focus on this. This is the main objective. And then this is what I got.
I just was like at this point where my wife was like, it's okay. Like, but people go through a grieving process. They go through a process where you are grieving your life that is ending and this new one that's beginning.
Yeah.
And that's super powerful. And I think that's super, super important to talk about. Yeah. It's okay to feel like that.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where we're doing 2 weeks or a week and a half, 11 days.
Gosh.
And it's crazy. But I'm pumped. I'm like so excited.
Yeah.
I just feel myself getting into that like maternal phase.
Yeah.
Where like, I just feel really like, I feel protective. I feel like I need to be understanding. I feel like I need to be on my game, and not just because I have to just take care of this person, but I just making myself more well-rounded, just like why I got into fighting.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really influencing me to do other things and to be better at fighting.
Yeah.
But not in the way that you think. Not in like, oh, I have a kid, I'm motivated. It's like growth. It's a growth factor and making sure that I'm making the most of my time.
Yep.
Like, I just feel like time is so much more important to me now. And I think that that's what I needed.
Yep.
And, and it's just a thing that just people don't ever talk about those, and I don't even want to say negative, but it's real. It's actually real thoughts.
Yeah.
Real thoughts. And I just think it's so important to be honest about it. And
which is exactly like why we wanted to do this.
And once Hannah and I had that conversation about grieving our old life, and I feel like ever since then it's just been so like we've been really supportive of each other. And obviously now that I'm past my fight, whatever she needs, I'm like, here, gold platter. Yeah. Let's do it. What do you need? You hungry?
Yeah.
Can I massage your back? Like, what can I do? I feel like I'm able to like talk to Nori and like to her stomach and stuff. And I'm just in a more like really like pumped state, because fight camp is so heightened. And,
it's
like
a mess.
Yeah. I mean, I am thankful and blessed and grateful for that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, like the last fight was not the fight obviously the outcome that I wanted.
Yeah.
But, you know, of course, loss, growth. But I think just from this entire year, just that growth factor. And I have never been more excited off of a loss of like how much I'm going to like, how much more I'm going to do.
Yeah.
What I'm going to become, my goals.
Yep.
You know, my aspirations, like the things I'm going to do next. I've never been so motivated in my life like after a loss.
Yeah.
Usually I want to pull the covers over my head and I want to dig a hole and I want to sit in there for weeks and I want to feel sorry for myself and I want to dive into this deep grave of depression, which always happens to me. It happens to me a lot, even off of a win.
It happened to me after a win, you know, and I was like, why do I feel this way? You know, why am I depressed for 2 weeks? I won. Like, but there's such a high and then it just drops off and then everybody is like, okay, let's move on. You know, there's new fights the next week, so everybody moves on and you're just like, wait a minute, like, now what do I do?
I think it's taught me how to just get up and shake it off and just go.
Yeah.
Go to the next one. Yep. You know, and that's also part of, like, just growing as a professional. But specifically this year, I just feel like, okay, like, the first day, crying, pissed, angry, felt all the emotions. And then I was like, okay, on to the next. Like, these are things that I want to accomplish before my next fight, you know, fighting wise and also like just life wise, like acting, improv, like, you know, doing all that stuff, challenging myself in a different way, you know, digging into my subconscious, trying to see the things that are really affecting my life and what could be better, you know. And so this was the most chaotic fight camp, right, or part of my life, but it was also the most transformative and it's honestly amazing. I do remember when I first came to Fortis and I was 0-3, you know, and then my first fight with, as like a Fortis team member, I was scared. I was like, man, this is like a big gym. There's a lot of like super high level people here. Everybody wins, you know, here. I don't want to be coming to the gym and then now I'm taking a loss and now maybe I have to rethink my career. So I think that's a hard moment.
It was hard. It was hard. And I remember going through, you know, a lot of the same stuff, like just depression, asking yourself, you know, do I even belong here? Do I, you know, what do I need to do? But I think it boils down to, you know, surrounding yourself with the people that build you up and expect the most from you and aren't yes men. Be like, hey, this is your weakness. This is where you need to, you know, improve on this and just going from there and then working on your mental space and just constant gratitude, constant like words of affirmation, telling yourself like, you know, you are good. You're here for a reason. You know, you've done all this stuff before, and now you just need to work on that like new stuff, and just building that confidence. And I think that was like the hardest thing for me, in feeling like I was going to let down a group of people that I had just met, which was
at Fortis.
Yeah. And that's pretty big. That's how
I first felt when I went there. I was like, I need to win. Which is a good motivation.
It is. It's a very good motivation. And I think that external motivator, you know, helped me a lot, but it put a lot of pressure on me as well. And so I think, you know, and I think even during that camp, I think that's where I tore my ankle with Phil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was that camp?
It was that camp, yeah.
Oh, so you really were going through the ringer.
So I was going through it, and, you know, I had a couple injuries that I was dealing with, and then I was kind of doubting myself, but then, like, you know.
What was your first fight?
Estella Nunez, yeah.
That was your first fight?
That was my, with Fortis?
With Fortis.
With Fortis, that was my first fight.
Okay.
Estella.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you tore your ankle.
That's
when you fell back on was that when you had the wrestling shoe on?
Yes. Yep. That was with Phil. Yeah.
What kind of tear?
It was 3 different ligaments, because right after that I had to do PRP.
Did you like that? Was that
terrible? I hated it. It was so painful. It was
painful? Because of the ankle
painful.
Though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've had a steroid injection in my foot when I broke a foot before a fight, and it was horrific.
Yeah. And see, I don't know, because I've been told by other people that PRP is not painful, but I was like, then what did they give me? Because
was it just the injection itself, or was
no? It was weeks after that. It was like a good 2 weeks, maybe 10 days after the injection, that I was like, I still can barely walk on this thing, And like they were telling
just
me,
like, do you think it was just because it didn't help?
Maybe. But I remember them telling me that like, you know, give it a week and then you'll be running again. And I was like, why is it 3 weeks? And I'm like, still not
That's
able to run. Yeah.
That's a little far-fetched, I think, weird. In my opinion, with like sports recovery stuff.
I thought it was weird.
Like just PRP itself. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I think that was quite a bit to deal with. But then after, you know, I had my first fight and I took a lot of pressure off myself. And then, you know, at that point I was becoming, you know, better friends with you. And
yeah. So you think like the friendship helped with that?
It helped a lot because I didn't have that at my old gym.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so isolated that like, you know, one person was just kind of like, you know, training you the whole time. And it was during COVID too.
Yep.
Yeah. I did not have a community.
I mean, everyone was super isolated with COVID.
Yeah. So it was just a weird time.
Yeah, so you had COVID, you had the ankle injury during your camp, and then you were
0-3.
You were 0-3 coming
my
to the
last
gym, which
fight
is crazy because like you're like even when you got to the gym, you were just really just a very special like person, special fighter.
Thanks.
And so that's crazy, but that's because I mean your first 3 fights in the UFC were
Tisha Torres, Loma Lugbumi.
Yep.
And then Luana Pinheiro.
Okay.
And like, so 3 killers, really.
3 very seasoned people.
Very.
Like,
and I took
Tisha has been fighting for a long time. Like,
and I took her on 5 days' notice.
That is insane.
I had a full camp for Loma.
Okay.
And then I took Luana, who was 10-0, I think, at that time, on 10 days' notice.
But that's your personality.
It is my personality. It is my personality. And it was also a crazy coach at the time.
Yeah.
That was basically like, yeah, you got it. You don't even need a camp. Like, just take it. And I'm like, okay.
That's a red flag.
It is a huge red flag. That's why I left that gym, because it was just, he didn't really know what he was talking about.
That always concerns me when someone says, let's just do it, versus like, let's take a moment, because like what we're doing, A, is dangerous. B, there's a lot of high level people. They have specialties and stuff like that in the sport.
Yep.
But that is like, yeah, I mean, that.
And let's talk about the pros and cons of like going down both avenues, and then let's like weigh what you actually want to do.
100%. You know, having a professional conversation.
That's super important.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's really scary, because like even I get hella motivated after a loss, because I'm like, I'm losing again.
Yeah.
Like, I just know that, you know? And, that is like definitely a fire under your ass, you know, and then going to a new gym, you know, that's really hard. Like making friends, like trusting people, you know, and then dealing with injury. I mean, that definitely, you know, I feel like depression wise or like mental health wise, you're really there's some demons you're having to fight with through that. Yeah. And I remember during that camp being like, you know, maybe this is it. Maybe this is my last fight. And then I remember during that camp going on so many interviews, like with like a career. Like I got a job interview for like, you know, accounting and stuff at like Budweiser. Can you imagine like I was like, I don't want to do this. Or accounting, CPA. I didn't want to do it, and I was miserable the whole time. Numbers, but I was like, this is what I have to do, because what if this doesn't work out? And we're so much of like, that's not what you have to do, because you're like, I know. But we're like planners. Okay, let me be able to fall back on something. Let me make sure this works out, because if it doesn't. But there definitely are other things, obviously, that you know, that you could fall back on that is totally you, and your personality. Yeah. And I think I've found that now. Yeah, you know, with coaching and stuff. Oh gosh, yeah, for sure. But it's a scary feeling, and you feel super alone, and you feel, you know, just a million different thought processes go through your mind. Yeah, so it's nerve wracking. Yeah, that's tough. But it's tough. Yeah, it's really tough. Yeah, and I've been there too. You know, when I transitioned from New Orleans to Texas. Yeah, being in a new environment, like also like there's a little bit of motivation there of the fact that like, okay, like these guys are obviously winning. Everyone's motivated. Like, I want to win for the team. Yep. You know, but that loneliness that comes with moving to a new place, being at a new gym, being alone. Yep. You're by yourself, and you just left familiarity, like people that you trusted or probably didn't trust, right? Or needed to get away from, like, which is eye-opening. Yep. But, I mean, that is a really isolating and hard process. Yeah. I mean, it's very isolating. Yeah. Very isolating. Yeah. And to juggle, you know, that whole thing of, you know, your own thoughts
and then being like, well, okay, and now I got to show up for training and I got to work 100% and I got to, it's crazy.
But look at you.
Hey, look at us now.
Look at you.
Look at us now. We got a little podcast.
Now you're like, are you coming off of 3 wins?
2.
2.
Yeah, because remember Mexico City I lost, and then Abu Dhabi. Yeah, so 2.
Yeah.
2-0.
I mean, it's amazing. Like your career since you like came to the gym, like it's really been amazing.
Yeah.
It really has.
I've only had 2 losses, I think, at Fortis.
Yeah.
And then so it's been good.
That's awesome.
But I think that speaks volume to like, the people I'm surrounded by, we hold each other to a certain standard and expect the best from each other. And then we also are able to, banter and have fun and create a relationship and have a community.
That's so important.
It is.
Okay, have anything else for me? Fun. Or that's it?
That was it. That was all I had.
That's all?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Thank you guys so much for coming to the first episode of Her Daily Hustle. You can follow us on Instagram at Her Daily Hustle, on TikTok as well, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys. We're looking forward to the next one.
Peace.
No way.